Hello everyone, it is Joe here from Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and today we're looking at a very frustrating lock deck with the new GX Pokemon Tauros GX. It's been tipped off to be one of the best GX Pokemon in the game, and from the new set, definitely, and it's taking the role of Giratina in this list, and basically taking the shell of Giratina Hammers and turning Giratina into Tauros. Two equally frustrating and annoying lock Pokemon. And with this build, the idea is pretty simple. Garbodor makes it so that things can't one-hit us. So now Greninja, Volcanion, Decidueye, all these ability-focused decks should not be able to get the one-hit KO on Tauros, which means we can then deal damage back with the Outrage attack, which is just called Rage. Or use his GX attack, Mad Bull GX, to just completely wipe the opponent of their active Pokemon, whilst also having Crushing and Enhanced Hammers to make sure, again, other attackers that scale up, like Mega Mewtwo or Yveltal EX, which like having lots of energy on the board to get one-hit KOs, you're going to crush those away, you're going to crush the bench Pokemon's attackers so that your Tauros remains damaged, but then they can't finish it off the following turn. And we also have Flare Grunts and Skull Grunts and all that other jazzy stuff to really make it awkward for your opponent to play at all. So, yeah, it's a very annoying list, and it's been getting fairly good results in the early games that I've tested with it, so let's jump into it. For those of you who don't know about Tauros, it's a 180 HP basic GX Pokemon, colourless typing, with a weakness to fighting, and this is a big point. The new Persimmon, we believe, is just below the line of playability. Potentially it will see play in a Vespiquen build. That's the most likely way we'll see it be played. A lot of people are tipping it off to be with Vespiquen. But outside of that, there's really not many fighting types in the format that can hit ×2 weakness for Tauros. It's only really this, Zygarde, and I guess Lycanroc GX when that comes out, that can really deal with Tauros effectively at all. So we're taking advantage of that, basically by saying quite often you're not going to get hit for weakness ever. So this 180 HP becomes very tanky when we have Fighting Fury Belt on top of that. We go to 220, and it's very obvious that not many decks at all in the format should be able to reach that number in a one-hit KO fashion. That means that all of his attacks that work off of DCE are all very viable options. The first one is Rage. It does 20 plus 10 more for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Very simple, it's the same as Outrage from the old Dragon Pokemon that we saw, Zekrom, Reshiram. Even Kyurem had it. A few Kyurem EXs had it as well. For just DC, it's kind of annoying. A lot of the time, people try and play around Tauros because they are very aware of this attack, as well as the Mad Bull GX attack, which is very similar to Rage. It's actually 30 times the number of damage counters on this Pokemon, so it is really, really, really crazy how quickly this scales. Having 70 damage on you means that you go to 210, so from then onwards, 7 plus basically means you get a one-hit KO on anything that's in front of you, really, for just a DCE. Obviously, you can only use your GX attack once per game, but this really helps out, especially, like I'm saying, we have the Hammers, we have all the disruption elements to this deck that we're making it difficult for the opponent to set up multiple attackers, so once we Mad Bull GX over their most important threat, we should be happy to continue using Rage and its middle attack, Horn Attack, which is just a 60 base damage. So when Tauros is fully healthy, we can just keep throwing some Horn Attacks in the mix to pressurize the opponent and make sure that they can't just sit there doing nothing all game. We can prod for 60 or 70 with a Fighting Fury Belt. So these are 3 attacking options for Tauros. It doesn't put up that much initial pressure, but as soon as your opponent starts trying to, you know, take some prizes, because they do have to do that at some point, Rage and Mad Bull GX get very, very strong. So yeah, full 4 count of him. He's the only attacker we have in the deck outside of SHaymin EX. SHaymin EX is 110 HP basic, as we all know. It also has an attack for just a DCE, which is 30, returning this and all cards attached to your hand. This can also be really good as well, because you need SHaymin EX to set up its ability, of course, to draw yourself a load of cards, but people don't want to attack Tauros, so they'll just Lysandre KO SHaymin. So it's important to use Sky Return in this deck for certain. We have Sky Return, and we also have Parallel City in the list to clear SHaymin off the board once we get value out of it, because, you know, a lot of the time you do need to draw cards with SHaymin, but Another great option is just Sky Return, so you know you have the DC in hand, and promoting a Tauros that has no commitment to it. It's a plain Tauros with nothing attached to it, but it's also serving as a huge threat because the opponent knows you've got DC in hand, so you can use Mad Bull next turn, or Rage, or Horn Attack. All of these options are available to you, and you've just picked the SHaymin off the board, so they don't have Lysandre targets. It's a very strong play for to go for. So yeah, the very thick Garbodor line, 3-2 Garb. We like it so that we start with SHaymin less, which is good. Having the 3 Trubbish, it just means that we have lots of Trubbish available. Decidueye and Lurantis Plume are 2 decks that are getting hype right now, and we all know that Volcanion is waiting in the wings as well. A lot of people hype Volk. There's going to be a lot of Garbodor decks out there, but this has to also play Garb itself for these ability-focused decks to keep them in line. So having 3 Trubbish means we can get them out very early to develop the turn 2 Garbodor, to lock all other abilities out of the game. That's also why you can see a full 4 count of Floatstone in here. Very high count, so that we can get into these very quickly, move between our Tauroses, but mainly just get the tool for Garb. Simple as that. Onto the items, it's disruption based really. So we're playing 1 enhanced hammer as well as 4 crushing hammers. Just the full complement really. I don't feel like we need to have any more enhanced hammers than just the 1, because we already are playing 2 Team Flare Grunt on top of this, so that we can discard more energy attached to the opponent's Pokemon. Like I'm saying, Mewtwo, Yveltal, you got to crush those energies away, because otherwise they're just going to one-hit KO through you, and obviously that's not what you want, because really to do impactful damage we need to be using Rage and Mad Bull, to be honest. We are also playing 1 Team Skull Grunt. Team Skull Grunt is an interesting card. Revealing your opponent's hand gives you good information, and discarding 2 energy cards from their hand potentially is really strong also. A lot of the time players will try and Sky Return against a Tauros to put a little bit of chip damage on you, so that you're in more of an easy range for their other attackers without falling into the trap of Mad Bull GX or Rage. So when they Sky Return, you know that there's a DC in there, so you can get it straight out of their hand. Additionally, Decidueye will Hollow Hunt quite often, and you can see those targets go back into their hand as well. So being able to get rid of their DCs and their grass energies, which they will inevitably recover because we have so much energy denial, Team Skull Grunt is really good for making sure that they can't ever get value from these energy cards. So it's a really cool one. It does serve great purpose in this deck, and when you have a free turn, Team Skull Grunt is absolutely excellent. And just because people are deterred from attacking Tauros, they kind of don't even want to commit energy to their board a lot of the time. So Skull Grunt gets a lot of value in here. Very good one-off supporter. We are playing 1 Pokemon Ranger. It means that we can actually attach DCE through a Giratina, which is of course what we have to do. The good thing is, if they're using Chaos Wheel, they're doing great numbers for us. We can just Ranger, attach DCE, Mad Bull, KO, and you're pretty happy from there to just hammer spam the rest of their Giratina pieces away. You shouldn't have too much problem against Giratina. You could potentially drop the Ranger because you have enough Grunts, Hammers, and stuff like that. But I still think it's more comfortable to have the Ranger in here. It also helps out against Jolteon. Again, I know we have the Flare Grunts and such, but you know, you can't rely on the flips of Crushing Hammers, etc. There's some Jolteon builds out there that play like a lot of energy, so it's not really viable to just try and Flare Grunt the whole time. We are then playing 1 Misty's Determination. I love Misty in a lot of decks, but definitely when I played Giratina Hammers, Misty was like an MVP card. There are often times when you're holding on to lots of VS Seekers, lots of your tech supporters, but you still need to dig. You need to dig for DCE. This is the main thing you need to dig for. Nothing else in the game right now can search for DCE other than Misty. Well, other than teammates, I guess. But Misty gets you there, and it's without having to Sycamore a bunch of different things away. It means that you can retain resources in the hand, but still find these pieces. DC is an important one, Garbodor pieces also. Lots of different things that Misty can search out, and it's a very good supporter. Even on turn 1, it's not too terrible, because it can get you like Ultra Ball for SHaymin and stuff. So Misty is like a 5th Sycamore, but without the painful discards. It's kind of useful in my opinion. We are playing 1 Olympia in here, just an extra switching option. There's a few decks running around with Trevenant EX now. Lurantis sometimes plays it, and so does Decidueye sometimes. So I don't like being locked in, so we'll just play Olympia to get around those annoying things. It's also just a nice little safety net. A little bit of healing as well can sometimes skew the math for the opponent. They're trying to set up 2-hit KOs. Sometimes you can Olympia and change the math to make it more favourable again for you, which is cool. I know I've sort of jumped through some of the items. We'll get back to them in a moment. We are playing 2 Lysandre and 2 Team Flare Grunt, just the theme of disruption and denial and all that good stuff. There's potential to even play 3 Lysandre because it's so important to get value from Mad Bull GX on the turn that you can get value. Sometimes they'll throw silly Pokemon in the active with lots of damage on the Tauros because they don't want their main attacker getting hit with a Mad Bull, so ensuring that you hit Lysandre could be important, so I could potentially see you wanting to play 3. And then just 3N for consistency, as with the 4 Sycamore. Doing a roundabout journey, going back to the items. 2 Nest Ball, the new Ball Search card that gets you basic Pokemon directly to the bench. It fits the theme that we want to get multiple Trubbish out, multiple Tauros out as quickly as possible. Unlike Giratina Hammers, you can't play a single Hooper that just gets the whole team out, so we need to have extra Ball Search cards in here to complement the 4 Ultra Ball. More consistency cards, 4 Male and 4 VS Seeker, lots of consistency. We have the space because we play a fairly low Pokemon count and obviously just 4 DCE, so we have the slots for these sorts of luxuries. 2 Special Charge in the list. This is to try and combat another potential weakness of this deck. Is that we only play 4 DCE, and those 4 DCE have to carry us the entire game. So now we have pretty much 8 DCE to play with if we use both our special charges, when we have at least 2 in the discard piles. So that gives us a bit of a safety net so that we can actually finish off games. Bear in mind, if push comes to shove, we can try and Sky Return bounce for the last bit of damage here and there. So you have to play carefully. Normally 2 special charge should see you through almost every situation, in my opinion, other than Mirror, which is just the grossest thing to play against, and I don't wish it upon anyone. 2 Parallel City. It's great for clearing SHaymin off the board, as I mentioned earlier. It can also limit the output a little bit more of certain decks, and yeah, limiting the bench size of Rainbow Road and Rayquaza is obviously super important, because these would otherwise be decks that can, you know, reach the numbers to 1-hit KO a Tauros. So keeping those in line with 2 Parallel and a whole bunch of Hammers is the way to go there, as well as Garbodor as well to stop their reload. And then just the tools, 3 Fighting Fury Belt, pushing our numbers a little bit higher with Horn Attack, but mainly it's the HP buff so that we're more awkward to be knocked out. 4 Floatstone for the Garb more than anything, and then just 4 DCE because all of our attackers work off DCE. So pretty cool stuff. Looking at options for the deck, there's a few Pokemon options you might want to consider. Lugia EX seems to have sort of anti-synergy in a way, because you get rid of a lot of energy with Hammers, etc. But if ever your opponent's starting to get out of control and you can't really do anything else, you can play Lugia for that Aero Ball, doing 20 times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. Additionally, if fighting types do start coming into the format, you may want to play a split of Lugia and Tauros, maybe like 3 Tauros, 2 Lugia, so that you have that resistance rather than weakness, and force your opponent into that awkward spot again, where you do the same thing you would do with Tauros, except this time you're tanking with Lugia, and you're basically Lugia Hammers. Lugia was a great one-of in Giratina Hammers, so I can see it fitting the same role in this build as well. And then for other options in terms of items and supporters, Professor Kukui is an interesting one. The relatively low output of Tauros can be played around, so having Professor Kukui in here, maybe even a 1 or 2 count, to increase that baseline is going to be helpful. Additionally, people are always trying to play around the numbers, so if you can just buff that up a little bit with your Outrage or with your Mad Bull GX, you can take KOs that your opponent wouldn't necessarily expect. So that could be pretty cool. Additionally, Puzzle of Time is something that I've considered in this list, especially because we are playing the Misty. It feels like it makes a lot of sense to play Puzzle in here. Right now I haven't done so. That's something for you guys to play around with. I think just the cycle with Sycamore and stuff can sometimes be too important, because we have to dig for things that you may not get full value from Puzzle, but by all means that could be a very good option for you also. So yeah, that is going to be it for the list, and we'll be jumping into some battles now and hopefully ruining some people's days, because this is really not a fun deck to play around. It is very mean, and lots of people are going to be testing out the new decks, and this guy is just super lame to play against. So hopefully we don't get any concedes and we can get some real games in here. But this is, in my eyes, a very genuine contender in the format. It's the same shell of a deck that used to be competitive that seems to have less weaknesses than Giratina did. So that's pretty promising. And looks like we're up against Uflame. It was definitely a grass build, but that doesn't necessarily tell us the full picture. It could be Decidueye, could be Lurantis, could be straight Lurantis, could be Lurantis Plume, it could be all sorts of different things. So we'll have to see. The opponent goes first, which is worrying if it is indeed a Varplume variant. Even as a Decidueye variant, that can be awkward, because Trubbishes can be sniped. So we shall see what goes on here. The opponent starts with a basic, and we have to mulligan. The deck only plays 9 basic Pokemon, so expect a few mulligans here or there. The opponent's still choosing what to start with. Hopefully we get going soon here. Yep, we reveal the mull. And this time we do start with Trubbish. Fairly awkward opening hand. Would not be too pleased if this is item lock. No one ever is, but we'll see what goes on here. And we see a Formantis, so it's definitely a Lurantis build. Just depends whether or not it's Varplume. They find the forest early. That's really the main thing that you look for when you are playing a Lurantis deck. So that's strong. Looks like a pretty decent hand here. Failed from the Trainer's Mail. Going to see an Acrobike. Discarding Professor Sycamore. They definitely have a strong hand. There is a Morlull. Another Acrobike. This is a dream hand already. Gets rid of an Olympia. That leads me to believe it probably is a Varplume variant, because the straight build isn't likely to play Olympia. The opponent attaches for turn. Ultra Balls. Away, there's the Gloom. And another Sycamore. Wow, look how strong that hand was. They started Sycamore, had 2 male and 2 acro. That is the dream start, really, I think. There's an Oddish as well. Into Gloom. Another Oddish goes down. 2 Glooms. Maybe this is just to free up another SHaymin. Going to see an Acrobike. Interesting they chose to Acro after benching their dudes. That does limit their options a little bit. They're able to get 1 grass into the discard pile. Going to play a Trainer's Mail for a Timer Ball. This could be a couple of big flips. If they could get the Shiinotic down, that would be pretty good for them. 1 heads, so I'd imagine Shiinotic is the play here. Instead they just go for Varplume straight away. Interesting. And then Sycamore. Wow, they Ultra Balled and discarded a Sycamore but didn't replace it and didn't keep a supporter. That is really interesting. Don't really want to end here. I don't feel threatened by their 1-card hand particularly. If it wasn't a supporter, what card is it if it's not a supporter? An unplayable trainer card. What could it be? Something like Revitalizer, maybe? That's maybe a forest, but they would always discard the forest with Ultra Ball. I can't get a read on this hand at all, but we don't have to make an action this turn anyway, so we'll just pass. That is a bizarre keep. I want to see what they kept. There's a Formantis to the bench and just a Synthesis. Really good attack on the Formantis. Not enough people use this attack. It's really, really good. And that's why we don't play N. That is awesome. Is it worth evolving into Garb? Don't think it is, because it means we can't just DC to retreat. So we'll just keep passing for a bit. See if they can draw out of it. We're under no pressure because there's nothing really we need to dig for other than just hit DCE. Going to see an attachment to the active and then another synthesis, getting more grass into play. Really smart move from the opponent. Deciding to attach to the SHaymin EX this time, which is interesting. Another Trubbish isn't going to help us out too much. I don't ever see us dealing with the Vileplume, to be honest, unless they pull even more grass energy out with synthesis. They've got rid of one Olympia only. Maybe Olympia is what they're holding on to. Maybe that's worth keeping over Sycamore. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so our read is currently that their hand is Olympia. That's our read on him. Or Lysandre. Maybe Tech Supporter. Okay, so it's either unplayable item or Tech Supporter. That's what we have them on right now. We shall find out. There's another attachment to SHaymin, so they're probably going to look to Sky Return, yeah. They need to be able to refresh their hand, it looks like. I'm going to go back into that little Formantis. We hit Sycamore, which is tempting now. Is Trubbish ever going to be useful in this game? I don't think it will be. No, I don't see it. Let's just go. All those lovely float stones that we can't play. Sadness. Let's pass. Right, let's see how their SHaymin EX treated them. Have they found themselves... Ah, that's the big one. That's exactly what they wanted. I mean, they could have had that instead of the Vileplume from their Timer Ball. And their decision really hurt them. really hurt them. There was no reason to not go for the Shiinotic with the Timer Ball if we knew it was in there, because they've drawn into it. So, sure. Getting 2 Vileplumes up does give us a win condition now of just stall for win. Because there's one Olympia in their discard pile already. So just wait around, try and hit your Lysandres and win, etc. Right, so we see a Flower Supply. I wonder where these grass energies are going to go. 2 to the active. Definitely 1 to the active. It's just if both go there. 1 to the bench, okay. That means that we can comfortably promote this guy if we incorporate the Team Flare Grunt here, which we will obviously do. And we're just going to go for the Horn Attack. We're basically just waiting around for Lysandre now to see if that's our win condition. We just need to make sure that we've played less cards than the opponent by the time we hit Lysandre. 2, 4, 5. We know they have energies in hand because of the Sky Return. They're just debating where to attach it to. First we're going to see the Shiinotic get another Lurantis out. No surprises there. I think Flower Supply attaching to bench is the smartest thing here. Turn attach and bench attached to there, I think, is the play. Not bench attach, what we're saying, attack to attach here. I think that's the smartest thing they could do. But we'll see. Yeah, there's the attachment to the bench. Yep, looks like they're being smart. Hate it when they do that. Oh, okay, they're going both to active. That's also reasonable, because we know that they have the other energy in hand. Let's Sycamore this. Hitting DC is pretty chill. They can only GX attack once. So this is the turn when they GX attack. I would imagine. No, just going for the Solar Blade. Interesting. So we'll just go for the Rage. 160. Yeah. So now their win condition is attach here and just KO. We do need a top deck. That's no lie. We're in trouble here. 5 energy, playing around Flare Grunt, like it. Any salvation? Well, that's not a loss, I guess. Let's Horn attack, force the GX attack, and then just hope that we can find DCE / Lysandre soon. Get End, which immediately isn't a bad thing, but we have the chance to draw into all of these again. Okay, it's a good thing. Good thing we got End. They're choosing not to use any more Illuminates, which could potentially improve their top decks, but hey, I'm not one to judge. Let's go Tauros. We were kind of jammy in getting a DCE, to be honest. But I'll take it. One attack. So thankfully top decking a Tauros means that we checkmate them rather than the other way around, I think. You can see the flower supply for 20, thanks to the stadium. One onto the Sheenotic. What does Sheenotic do? Sleep, okay. Potentially their win condition at this point. Maybe? Okay. We'll see what happens. Sycamore gets rid of a bunch of items. Yeah, looks like Sheenotic's the way to go. Let's see the Solar Blade. So we can Sycamore as well here. Load of our own items. So let's Rage. There's Sheenotic. We still haven't seen a Lysandre all game. We get hit with an N once again. So it's N plus Sleep Flips for the win condition. Let's see how it works out. Only doing 10 damage thanks to the stadium. There's an Illuminate to find a Fomantis. Surprised it's taken so long for that, to be honest. And sometimes lucky. This guy should be benched, I think. Oh, they concede. Okay then. First win. It was a tough one. It could easily have been a loss, I'm not gonna lie. Because we top decked a Tauros. And then off the end we got a DCE, so lots of things went in our favour there. But at the same time, they developed Turn 1 Plume. They made some decisions that didn't really help themselves, to be honest. But yeah, just for full closure, if we start that game, it goes completely differently because we Floatstone a Trubbish and then we're chill the entire game. So I would say this deck has a 50-50 or better matchup against Lurantis Plume. Just because numbers more than anything else. The numbers that Lurantis hit are just super awkward after they get over and done with their GX attack. And again, if we go first, we can Fury Belt, which makes their GX attack even worse. So yeah. Okay, going second here. Starting SHaymin's not bad when you go second. Because you can see we have Nest Ball, so we could Sky Return into a Tauros. So not necessarily too worried just yet. Otherwise our hand is complete trash. And looks like we're up against Rainbow Road, which is a pretty tricky matchup. Gonna see the Hooper. It's really down to how we can flip our hammers and how quickly we hit parallel. Having an early Lysandre stall turn isn't too bad for us though. They go for a Genesect and a Volcanion. See the Fairy attachment and an N straight away, so potentially that's good news for us. Interesting that they chose to commit an attachment this turn. Wow, we get a familiar hand. We can KO Joltik though if they're not careful. Yeah, they are going to retreat. Alright, let's kick off with the Trainer's Mail here. Misty's not bad. Not a bad card. Think I'm discarding the Crushing Hammer here. Well, Tauros is definitely something that I want. So we'll take him. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. It's too easy even with the Fury Belt for them to get over us, but it's not going to be easy for them to attach it all. So I think I'm better off just getting the damage in this turn. We can set up here. No Trubbish is a bit of a shame. But we can just Sky Return into a Tauros for now. See what the opponent can come up with. Their strange choice of attachment is good for us. They do have a switch though. So now they could hit some elixirs maybe. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. They also need to hit Skyfield. Oh no, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. No, they don't. They do whiff the elixir though, which is great news. They do evolve into Galvantula though. VS Seeker again for that N. Gonna play N. Okay. Interesting times. Floatstone DC are two very good things for us here. Because we need to stop this SHaymin from getting KO'd. Let's go for Crushing Hammer. Do get a heads. It's going to be here all day long. This goes on. This goes on. Does Parallel City get played here? I could Ultra Ball away Skull Grunt and Floatstone for our other SHaymin, but then we're still worried about Galvantula, kind of. No, we're not really, because then we can KO it with a Horn attack next turn. Okay, I don't mind finding SHaymin here. Let's go ahead and do that. Keep the parallel for when we can actually develop a Garbodor. It's too easy for them to reload right now. Let's dig for Trubbish and some better supporter cards. None of those things happened. Great news. I think a Crushing Hammer is worthwhile here. Not when it gets tails. Has to be Misty here, really, doesn't it? Don't want Lysandre because I want the damage on this Galvantula. Could just be the Flare Grunt. Flare Grunt's reasonable. Okay. Uh, 10 more damage for the Bants. I mean, they need to find Float, DC, Elixir. I think we just go into the Float Stone one. I think that's safe enough. Okay, they're just going to attach the Galvantula, that's chill. Gonna see the VS for N once again. Maybe one of these times we'll find a Trubbish. Well, 2 Nest Ball. That'll do. Okay. So, we are going to go Trubbish, I think, here. So I want to guarantee it. Then we're going to attach to the active, I think. And I might even Skull Grunt here. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the Skull Grunt. Let's let RNG decide this game. Well, not bad. They do have a Sycamore though. Rainbow Road is a deck that's kind of precious with its energy attachments. Getting rid of this many is pretty good for us. Putting another SHaymin down means at some point we have to parallel our side, which isn't great. Unless we do it fairly soon. They have a Fairy Garden in hand though, so they may want to play that before their Sycamore. Okay. We'll just Horn Attack for now. It's been an interesting little dodge and weave. It's not ideal for Tauros this matchup because they can obviously overcome us. Right now we do have 6 counters waiting on this guy though for a Mad Bull GX, so I'm fairly happy with where we're at right now. This guy's 110 HP. They choose to attach to the bench. Play a Rope. We'll just go into a Trubbish. Because we know their hand is Sycamore. And that they can't KO us this turn, so we can just float and get out of here. Floatstone goes onto the Genesect, which I don't really advise because he knows we've got double Trubbish down. Interesting. Might be another Skull Grunt turn. Skull Grunt OP, I hear you shout. And you would be very right. Yeah, I think Skull Grunt's really good here. I think it's better than everything else we can do. Alternatives is to dig for DCE for a Sky Return, which also sounds reasonable. 2 energy, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 energy gone. I kind of like the Skull Grunt because I get to keep Lysandre in hand. Don't really see the value in playing Crushing unless I am going to Skull Grunt. I'd Skull Grunt first. See if they have Fairy Energy. Well, this is happening always. I think I'm going to go for the Skull. Just because it's fun. Oh my goodness, it's over. That is so gross. And the heads. GG. Wow, just concede now. That is so gross. I'm sorry. That deserves a well played, guys, I think. I'm surprised you didn't see the heart crush emoji. Oh, Skull Grunt OP. Look at this sad turn of events. They play Parallel. Interesting. That could have been a really good turn to Parallel as well. One switch, one rope, and the floatstone has been played. So I think Lysandre might win us the game here. Still going to pressurize damage because they have to start manually attaching to this guy. So when they get to 2 energy attached, we just go trollolol. I'll KO you instead. This has gone swimmingly. Skull Grunt though. That's Skull Grunt. Do I want to end? I think I do. Don't want a Sycamore because then we start getting in lower hand size than, card deck size. There we go. I'll get there in the end. So here we're just gonna Sky Return, start getting these off the board. I think I want to go into the SHaymin. Yeah, we'll go into the SHaymin. Almost bait this guy out because then we can just Mad Bull KO. If not, then we just Sky Return again and we get both SHaymins off our board. That's what I call a win-win situation. Okay, there's the retreat with the Fairy Gun. So they have to... Okay, they're Lysandering this guy. Okay, reasonable. Reasonable things have happened. Let's go into Garb here while we figure out what to do with our lives. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many more Fairy do you reckon they play? Lysandre, this guy, Sky Return? How many more VS Seekers do they have left? 2. And 1 physical Lysandre. Okay, I'm DCing here. And we're just going to play N. Hope to find Parallel. Do you find Parallel? Good news. Hooper SHaymin off the board. 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay. This is a hairy, scary turn for us. See how well they draw off N. Trainer's Mail for Skyfield. So they play 3 different stadiums in their list. Skyfield, Parallel, and Fairy Gun. Very, very rare to see these things. Well, N has not been great, has it? I think that's fair to say. Okay, we really need to find a Tauros and a DCE. Like, really, really badly. Okay. Good news, everyone. We have a Tauros to play with. Now it's just don't whiff DCE blocks. Ooh, Fury Belt we don't necessarily need now. Special Charge improves our odds of hitting DCE. Okay, we're special charging here. Misty is one more card, but then we're left without hand, so we have to Sycamore here. Okay, we hit DCE. We're happy. We also want to find Fury Belt, which we do. Great news. Okay. Now I have to think about where I commit this Fury Belt. It might well be to SHaymin. How many float stones have I played? 2, 3, because one's on board. We know one's in deck. I'm thinking about, they go into Galvantula, they snipe. I can't KO Galvantula, they snipe, they win. So I think I actually Fury about the SHaymin. Okay. Not close prize-wise, but very close on the board state. I think we can start rolling now. So they've lost 3 DCE, 3, 4, 5, 6 energy, 7, 8. So I think they only have DCE left. Ultra Ball's a fail search. Are they out of Galvantulas? No, it's there. Okay, double thread. Okay, we hit float. Great news. I'm just gonna hide Tauros and Sky Return. Can't be dealing with this stress of having a SHaymin around. We can promote this guy fairly comfortably. They don't really want to put 30 on Tauros. So it gives us Mad Bull 90, which is just more than what we currently have. Okay, they're going to Super Rod 3 energy back in, I imagine. Yep. Guy's on 90. Okay. Yeah, so if... Okay, see the retreat into Genesect and a pass. Now we can retreat. We're just going to Horn Attack here. Don't think there's any target on their board that I want to put on more. Sycamore top deck's not bad. They actually actively choose to retreat into Umbreon. We know they have DCE left. 1 float, 1 rope, 1 garden, 1 switch, all played. Am I Lysandring? Yes, I'm Lysandring. Where's it going to go? I think it's just the Volcanion. Or do I need this to be more precise later on? It's my last Lysandre. I think I'm safe. This list has been full of surprises though. It's an interesting one. Just the pass. Okay. Ooh, Elixir could have wrecked us last turn. Right, top deck parallel, please. Please, deck. Play that 25%er. 2 VS Seeker played. Okay, didn't win the 25%er. So we have to N. So we also have to play stuff. Three, 6, 9, 12, 15. We can't put this down. This we can put down. So we want to N, either digging into parallel, in which case we attack, otherwise we just pass and hope that they don't hit an energy, which is not great for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I still think it's just their DCE. Okay. Rage. VS Seeker to have a switch card. Sycamore. Sycamore gets them their last energy to win the game. So energy, VS Seeker I think is their hand. Man, that was a close game. Damn. That was close. That was close. I thought the Skull Grunt won us the game, but apparently not. Oh, the last prize was DCE. I think the last prize was DCE. It was either DCE or VS Seeker, with their other card being VS Seeker guaranteed. Huh. Weird game. Okay. Let's have one more with Tauros, because I'm just enjoying it so much. We scraped a win, and then we almost brought another win to the table. So, Mega Mewtwo. It's another fairly peculiar and tricky matchup. Garbodor is not essential in this matchup. It's more just hit your hammers, win your game. That's the plan. Here comes Tauros. Slapping a DCE. Straight onto him. And we'll play an N. There's some hammers. Don't really feel I need to do much else this turn. We can just pass. Have to be careful hammering away basic energy, of course, because it's just Mega Turbo fodder, and a lot of the time they play 4. So I can start with an Ultra Ball here. This goes on. I think we just get rid of these two. We won't reveal that we play a Ranger. No point in giving them that info. And we'll just play N. Not going to use Crushing Hammer. I think I can save it till it's more valuable. Poking for 60. 3, 6, 9, 15, 18. Ugh. Okay, let's try and hit a Fury Belt before we start committing some Sycamore, some Tauros for the cannon fodder. Looks like we don't hit some ideal things. Misty's not a bad pickup though. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 if they go Mega, DCE, find Mega Turbo, Activator, and Mega Turbo. Just the DCE means they KO SHaymin, so I think I'm just retreating into this Tauros and passing. And we'll figure it out from there. Wow. A concede. That's pretty sad. What. Let's have one more game then. Because Mewtwo's a tight game, I think. But anyway. We shall see. Oh, dearie me. Yeah, looking back at that Rainbow Road matchup, I do think that a Lugia EX might be good in here, because we can start actually putting on more pressure. Because there I felt like I was ahead of the game for like 5 turns, but those 5 turns meant nothing, because I was doing effectively nothing. So, we'll see. Also the fact that they played Fairy Garden. Like, hello? That's not something I was expecting. So, weird. In a good way. Wow, Mewtwo plus Lunala. That's really bad for me, because Lunala can KO a basic GX Pokemon. So that little Nebby is my top priority. God, how ridiculous. Okay. Little Nebby doing work. If I play Lysandre this turn... Oh, excuse me. I think I do play it this turn. Because if I draw into draw card / DCE, it's there for me. This way, all of our draw supporters are now outs to KO this Nebby quickly. Elixirs. This just got even more scary. Another Elixir. Oh my goodness. If they find a way to retreat Nebby, I'm in a lot of trouble. Maybe they play Mystery Energy to retreat. We'll see. See an Ultra Ball. So much ramp from that Mewtwo is really scary for Tauros as well. Super scary. I can imagine this list plays no DCE. Oh my goodness. Hooper time. Oh my goodness, Hooper's an attacker in this matchup as well. Probably won't do it because he can't really afford to discard energies, but just bear in mind, it's an option with Lunala around. This is interesting stuff. This is why you love playing when a new set comes out, because you can just play against lots of different ideas. Lots of people get creative. Maybe get a pinch of inspiration for yourself. Aha! See? All of those of you who doubted me. KO Nebby, please. Ah, yes. The dream. The dream has come true. We gotta take this. We gotta play this. Well, sacking a Tauros just to KO Nebby. Doesn't feel great, but we can't really allow Lunala to just KO a Tauros later on anyway, so we gotta do this. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So one attachment gets them there. Plus Spirit Link Mega, but I'm certain they probably have that. Another Cosmog goes down. It's really frustrating that I sort of have to deal with a Mewtwo, but at the same time I kind of have to deal with the Cosmogs. I guess while Garbodor's up I didn't have to, but now that they've just KO'd it, I do again. Okay, Tauros comes up. We want to find Fury Belt / Hammers / other things. Those are not other things. Maybe I take Ultra Ball so that I can play Ultra Ball. If you follow me. I want to draw cards this turn. I want to try and deny the KO, so we'll get rid of an energy. We want to hit Fury Belt and Hammers here. Hit none of those things. That is delicious. Need to keep a space open for Trubbish. Float, retreat, pass. Putting damage on is good, because even damage change isn't a problem, because we can just Mad Bull, which is hilarious. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So if they play DCE, they can KO me next turn. Or if they Elixir, attach, Candy, and switch it to the active. But I think that's a stretch. So let's just Horn attack. See how it goes. See how it goes. And again, this seems like a matchup where Lugia EX is good, so maybe this is where you get a little treat for staying in the video this long. You get to see my post-match thoughts on the deck, because let's be fair, it's all still early in Sun and Moon, and these decks are still works in progress. Up to this point, I hadn't found an issue, but in these few games, I felt like a Lugia EX could be really cool. When we're missing hammers and or just not finding them, just blowing something up seems like a strong idea. Candy Lunala's just happened. It's a lovely full art Lunala. Oh no. The horror that I described might be happening. They still need to find Spirit Link Mega and manual attach. Instead, just a Lysandre on SHaymin. So far they're doing 90 with this movement to the active, if they want to do that. I don't know if they do. Wow, okay. Turn attach. Oh no, just damage change. Huh. Interesting. I think Olympia's maybe my play. Only one float gone. I can afford to attach a float here. But then where do I go from there? Gotta worry about this Lunala so much now. I don't think the Flare Grunt's impactful enough. Really the only thing stopping him doing the Lunar Fall is the fact that they don't have a switch card right now, not the fact they don't have the energy. Ugh, scary. Scary, 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 scary. Okay, let's go back to the Horn attack. VS Seeker for Lysandre. There's the Cosmo M, which is a rare in the set, by the way, and possibly the only playable rare in the entire set. Golduck, maybe, but the rest seem like garbage, like complete and utter garbage. Okay, this is where we end for sure. We have the bench space to play this. Oh, Fury Belts are cool. No Trubbish though. Maybe Nest Ball here would be excellent. Oh, the dream. The dream. Awkward thing about this is it helps their overall prize race, because it's in their interest to KO us, but I think we can get away with it. Okay. Let's see what else can go down here. I wonder what their Mewtwo line is. It might be like a 2-2 line or something? 3-3 maybe? Because they're fitting a fairly thick Lunala line in. Here's some Psychic transfers. Moving to its self. Uh-oh. Don't have a switch card, please. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Don't particularly want to end. But I think Crushing Hammer is the only thing that can help me right now. Plus next turn N gets way worse for us, so... Okay, there's Crushing Hammer. It's something. Get out of here. Let's attach. Let's draw cards, question mark. Yeah. The Tauros are actually more vulnerable than the SHaymin right now, which is hilarious. Ooh, Crushing. Save me, flips. Nope, not today. Okay. We're about to be Lunarfall GX'd and there's nothing I can do about it. Another Lunala. This is the artwork that I actually prefer. Gonna see a VS Seeker for Sycamore. There's the attachment. Mewtwo Spirit Link. And there is Lunarfall to... Oh, SHaymin EX. Why SHaymin EX? Why? Why not just my active? Oh, there isn't a Pokemon GX. I completely forgot that. I was thinking the whole time it included GX basics. I thought it was only non-basics. Wow, that's silly of me. I've been trying to play that around that all game. It's not even a thing to worry about. That's funny. Okay, Let's just N. Resulting in a smaller hand than I had before, but that's fine. Hitting Floatstone is good. And we'll initiate the Horn attacks. We've not used our own GX attack yet. Turning off Lunala's ability is really good right now. Just hope for no Energy plus Lysandre would ruin my day. Lily is interesting. Really good in this spot. There's the Mega Mewtwo. Mega Turbo is nice. Not for us, obviously. Trainer's Mail. What switch cards does this list play? Haven't seen any switch cards all game. Maybe just like Olympia. Haven't seen Floatstones, haven't seen Mystery Energies even. Interesting. Could be my win condition at some point. Attaching to the Hooper does not seem right when there's a Garbodor up. They're going to pay retreat. Interesting indeed. Floatstone doesn't help us. We'll just attack. Uh-oh. They're setting up the Hyperspace Fury for game. Oh, I can't even stop them. Oh no! Hyperspace Fury OP. Damn, we just got Hyperspace Fury for a game. That's impressive. That's very impressive. Yeah, that's actually a really difficult matchup for us. Traditional Mewtwo's are difficult in their own right, but having so much energy, acceleration and recovery, plus Lunala, all sorts of things went pretty badly for us there. But yeah, that was some interesting games with Tauros. I think in a more focused metagame, Tauros can do well. It doesn't appreciate Lunala shenanigans and stuff like that all day. I think we drew kind of weirdly in that last game as well, the whole time. But anyway, food for thought. I do think this is a genuine archetype that we'll see play. Potentially the Lugia coming in here for type coverage and some different numbers that you can actually hit. You can start pressurizing Pokemon a lot more proactively because you have Deep Hurricane on your side and stuff like that. So going forward, maybe that's something you look to make spaces for. And Puzzle is also something to try out as well. For now though, it has been Joe from Omnipoke. Hope you all enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll be seeing you guys next time. Thanks for watching.